AFK from his household like the majority of the time in the beginning too, and he didn't have a good excuse for that. He just said like, "Oh, I was
Yeah.
sick," and
Like,
so I mean, like, I
but
don't think in the beginning, I don't think it was like as like masterminded
but
overall with it,
again,
right?
that's not a loose end. So you can always account for why you're gone, and he had reasonable excuses, like, you know what, I just, now that I have the cancer, I'm just going to take more time to myself and go on nature walks. Like, that's not a loose end where somebody can blab to you and like rat you out, whereas that is a clear huge loose end that would obviously end up biting you in the ass. And I mean, even the retard Jesse he was working with, like, probably would have figured that out.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, and
maybe I guess, but
I mean, like, this kept going on and on and on. Like, one huge one that made me completely give up on the series was when Walter. The only reason they're keeping him alive was because they figured he was the only one who could create this crystal meth shit. So what ended up happening was Walter killed his chemist buddy, who would also be able to make the formula. But it turns out the guy who was overwatching the operation could make the formula, and he was showing to his boss Gustavo that anybody could make this as long as they just have the recipe. So what ended up happening was, rather than Gustavo killing his partner Jesse, who's a fucking retard, degenerate drug addict who he knew did not help Walter at all, he like, to send a message to Walter like, you better stay in line or I'm gonna fucking kill you next. He kills the underling who discovered how to make his fucking formula. And the only conceivable reason that happened was because the writers knew Jesse Pinkman was a popular character and they didn't want to kill him off.
um, wasn't Jesse really good at what he did?
No, he sucked. The only reason he ended up making good meth was because he just copied Walter White's recipe. Like, that's it. He didn't know anything about chemistry. So like, again, any retard could have just copied the formula and made it. And he knew that Jesse was useless.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I don't know if I can argue from this because it's been a long time since I've watched this, but I thought that Jesse got really good at cooking. Wasn't there a part in like season 2, like really early on, where Walt was going to do his own thing and he didn't want to cook anymore, and then Jesse showed up and
Yeah,
showed him stuff that he cooked, and it was like blue would show that he
yeah,
made it like really well, even if it wasn't perfect.
yeah.
So if
So
he got
any
up to that level
retard,
of perfectly, well,
yeah.
but clearly not any retard because their stuff is supposed to be really special, no?
No, he was just copying Walter White's formula. Like, again,
But
there
it's
was
not
the
just copying the
scene.
formula; it's like
It
working the
was.
lab too,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. It was literally just copying the formula because Jesse went over. He was forced to go over to Mexico to teach the chemists who were working for the cartel to make the recipe. And Jesse didn't know anything about basic chemistry. He just said, okay, this is the way I do it. I mix this chemical here, this chemical there. And then they were able to perfectly replicate the recipe immediately, right after Jesse just gave them all the steps. So Jesse was literally just copying the steps that Walter White taught him. And
I would have to go
again,
back and watch these scenes because I would have to go back and watch these scenes because I don't remember.